Before I go back to John 6, one of the questions that was raised, I need to answer it so I can leave, what about the manna? They ate Passover, which is communion. Passover is about the death of the lamb. They ate Passover and they were healed. But they sustained their life with manna. God provided manna, bread from heaven. What is manna? God himself explained what it is, and I need to show it to you. Deuteronomy chapter 8, where he fed you with manna. Maybe start from verse 15. Yeah.
Who led thee through the great and terrible wilderness?
We are cutting. We are just trying to go to the point. Moses was telling them, remember the Lord your God when he brought you out of Egypt, that he led you through the wilderness before bringing you to the promised land. Meanwhile, I need to maybe make a statement on that. Especially if you're a young believer, you're a young Christian. When you come to Christ, you are wanting everything to be fast, fast, fast. Want God to make you a millionaire overnight, make you this overnight, make you this overnight, make you great man of God overnight. And there might be young ministers, you come answer the call of God, you want quick success, you want to get to the top of the mountain fast. Listen to me. Anything that is instant is not from God, it's from the devil. Instant promotion, instant fame, instant greatness is Satan. It's a setup. And anytime you see, the man will fall later. Do you know what happens if you take a skyscraper and just build? 3 days, it's up. 15 story. With what I know, you can go and get your office there. Me, I will not near that building. If me and you are to have appointment in that building, you have to come down. We'll hold it in a nearby restaurant. Because that building has no future. Anything that lacks process lacks a future. Anything that God does goes through process. Do you know the only time I've seen God grow a tree overnight was when he provided shade for Jonah. Jonah went to the land of Nineveh after rebelling and disobedience. And the sun was beating him because it was desert. He now prayed. God made a tree grow overnight. Guess what happened to that tree? It died overnight. And Jonah started crying. What kind of miracle is this? You made the thing grow overnight and he also died overnight. Because anything, look at pregnancy, the coming of human being into the earth. It will tell you something about the making of man. That night the baby is conceived. Give birth to that baby and see what it will be. Blood. Anything that is instant is Satan. Anything that has process is God. That's how God blesses you. So don't come to Christ and start hurrying him. All your millions must come immediately. Of course, God will bless you, but you'll be growing, you'll be moving. That's why when he brought them, he didn't take them from Egypt to the promised land. The promised land is your destiny. It's that place God has shown you. But there is a process going through the wilderness. Why does God want the process? So you'll be matured when you come to that place of your destiny. God has shown you you're going to be a governor, you're going to be the greatest preacher in Nigeria, but you have to sit here. Let me train you first. God has shown you you're going to own the biggest bank, but you have to go work in a bank and get under mentorship first. Or maybe work in another type of organization that prepares you for what you're coming for. Now, for example, I met a gentleman, and he's even a pastor. He said God has shown him he was going to be president of Nigeria. I said, no problem. So go to the house. After the house, you can now go for the state and be a governor. And after that, you can now go for the presidency. No, he wants to become president. Let him try 1,000,000 times. He will never be there. I said, why don't you go to the state first? Look at David. God told him, you're going to be king of Israel. But he had to become governor of Judah first and led Judah, only one tribe, for 7 years. It was when he matured with one tribe, God now gave him the whole nation to rule. But this presidents, unless you don't want, you're not serious. God is not like that. God is into process. God told the children of Israel, I'm giving you the land of promise. Then he turns to Moses and said, tell them, I will not give it to all of it at once. I will give it to you one after the other, city after city. You will take Jericho, then you take the city of Ai. He said, because if I give you all of it, wild beasts and other problems will develop and become more problem and wipe you out. They say, you jump into something you cannot manage, you can't handle, it becomes a problem. So they move you in stages. In those stages, help you grow experience, grow capacity, and then you move into the next level. You don't come here. You have never given God 1 million naira in your life. You come here and come and drop 20,000 and tell God you're believing him for 10 billion. Why don't you do that in your school? You go and write entrance to primary school and tell God you are using it to go into the university. God doesn't operate like that. The reason is the human being. God is more interested in you than what he's doing for you. He wants you to mature. He wants you. See how he made. Can you imagine? How many kids do you have, Pastor Lewo? 3. Which one? How many boys? 1 boy. Can you imagine that boy? The day he was born, he becomes president of Nigeria. What will happen to him? You don't need terrorists to kidnap him. It will be the cleaner in the room that will carry him, put inside a bag, and go to Iraq and sell him there. But that might be his destiny. But the brain can't handle what you are giving him. His physical maturity can't handle it. There is so many things. Can you imagine a little girl, just born now, becomes pregnant, or become pregnant at the age of 2? How will she deliver that baby? So that's what God is doing. God is more interested in working in you than in working for you. He will work for you, but he must work in you. He needs to mature you and develop you while he's getting things done alongside. So that's why he does it in stages. In stages. And not every vision God shows will be accomplished in 2021. Some are for 2022. Some are for 2023. He takes you in phases, because as he takes you on the journey, you mature. And that's what he's telling the children of Israel. There is a shortcut to the promised land, but I chose to take you through the wilderness, through the process. So you have Egypt, you have Canaan, which is the land of promise. In between is the wilderness. That's the process. That's how God works. He said, when the Lord brought you out, he led you through that great and terrible wilderness. Go ahead, Pastor Ben, Deuteronomy 8 from verse 15, yes?
Who led you through the great and terrible wilderness, wherein were fiery serpents and scorpions and drought, where there was no water. Who brought thee forth water out of the rock of
Why
flint?
is it that at certain stage in your Christian life, you are led through this stage where you don't have too much abundance? In another stage, after you have passed this stage, you now start having the money, millions and billions. Why is it at that certain stage, they need limited resource? Why does God operate like this? Why is it that you, Pastor Lewo, but that your boy at that stage, do you expose him to your Range Rover, to your Jeep, to your bank account, to millions? Is that what you give to the guy? Why do you give him small pocket money and give him school fee? Just that level. Give him just 1 meal. Why don't you give him money that can buy a whole supermarket? Why is it that there is the stage where God, in developing you, make sure that not too excessive, not just basic provision. He led them through the wilderness where there was no water, but yet he brought them water out of the flint. He makes provision. What is he trying to develop, Pastor Ben? You will see it, verse 16.
Who fed thee in the wilderness with manna?
You see, when they ate manna, because there was no supermarket in the wilderness, no where to go and buy turkey and chicken. That's where he gave them manna. Why did he give them manna? Yes.
Who fed thee with manna in the wilderness, which thy fathers knew not, that he might humble thee, and that he might prove thee, to do thee good at the latter end.
So the goal of this is to do you good. You are going to enter a large land, a land flowing with milk and honey, a land of prosperity, greatness, where you are promoted. Some of us are living in that third phase now. But we all went through this. Some of us are still in the middle phase. You know, if one person is practicing medicine, another person is in the school, going through the process, cutting cadaver. You don't jump out of school because the other man has the best hospital in town. Complete that stage. One person is flying aero contractor aircraft up and down, flying British Airways. Another person is in school, in a flying school. Process. Complete the process. You don't jump out of school because you saw somebody, a pilot in the airport. That's where you're going. That he might do you good in your latter end. Ladies and gentlemen, God asked me to speak these words to you. Because some people are getting confused. They don't know where they are. God is not against you at all. The process is for your good. Don't go and start wondering what's going on. Is God? No. All of us went through it. Meet any man who tells you of greatness without the process, tell him that he's lying. And if he's true that he's saying, Satan gave him that promotion. It's not God. Let me tell you what the devil does. He took Jesus. Did you see the three temptations he gave to Jesus? Matthew chapter 4. Have you ever read them? One is command this stone to be bread. But the third one, he took him from that place he was to the pinnacle. A high mountain, very high mountain. He took him to a very high mountain and showed him the kingdoms of the world and the glory of it, all the wealth, everything in this world, and said, all of it I will give you. If you want to be prime minister, president, if you want to be United Nations, if you want to be a world-known minister of the gospel, I will make you famous overnight. Instant wealth. And just from here to there, immediately. You know, the process will take Jesus through the cross. Then he will become King of Kings, Lord of Lords. But the devil gave him a shortcut. He said, see it. You don't need to go preaching, trekking in Jerusalem, all this turning water to wine. You don't need to preach to anybody. Instant, you become a global star. Jesus rejected it. Many people today will take it. They don't know when the devil makes an offer and when God makes one. Did you hear my story that the first 7 years in ministry, God banned me from putting my picture or my name in handbill, in posters and anything. He said, don't do it. The fame you are trying to get, you don't have the stamina to withstand what comes with it. And he said, if you do it, you will vanish. And if I had done it, I won't be here today. So in those days, you won't see me, not even on handbill, not even church or fellowship handbill. You can't put me there. Not in poster, not in TV, not radio, not. He said, don't look for popularity. Complete your maturity and I will take you up to the mountain. Is that not what happened to Jesus? Therefore, God has highly exalted him. But Satan tried to give him that exaltation first. It's called instant promotion, instant exposure, instant. You get exposed. And he told me in those days, he said, the warfare that come at the place where you're trying to get yourself, you are not ready for it. Do you know what was going on? Archbishop Idahosa was my mentor and fathering us in those days. I was trying to get to where he was fast. When he come for program finish, I watch the kind of cars that he would drive. And I want the cars. So I'll be praying and claiming those kind of Jeep. God, are you crazy? Your church doesn't have a piece of property. You are believing for car. This is a misplaced priority. Go and focus on the important thing. How many souls have you won and you're believing for a car? Leave all those things. Seek the kingdom. These other things will be added. He said a season of your life will come. Those things, they will be coming to you without you even looking for it. Focus on the important thing now. Focus on your own growth. Focus on the ministry's growth. Focus on the people I've given you to grow them. If I started pursuing shadow, I would have grown. These are the men in those days. You need to see how they were looking. Go and look at those old pictures. Some of them, their neck used to look like stick. Pastor Not Bad, all of them, Dubus and the rest of them. So focus on grow these men. Turn them to mighty men. These things you're looking for will become common. I said, and then that was where. That's why you hear me, I tell you, I don't have ambition for success or to drive big cars and all. If God killed it, then he killed it on time, and thank God that he did. Who fed in the wilderness with manna, which your fathers knew not, that he might humble thee, that he might prove thee. It's a testing time to do thee good in your latter. Because you don't learn humility when you're already in power. You won't learn it again. It's in the wilderness you learn it. You don't learn faith when everything is already available. No. Your faith is in money, not in God. You don't learn the things of the spirit when all the things are now. You see, prosperity is one of the greatest hindrances to spiritual development. But when a person has developed root, you now give him prosperity. It doesn't shake him again. But his root has not entered. You go and start bringing too much of that. You need to give him his daily bread, meet his needs, but not too much, not wants. God gives you both your needs and wants. Oh, he does that. Yes, he does that. There's a stage where you are, he meets your need. There's another stage. You know, these days, sometimes I just think about something. Next thing somebody brings it. I have not even prayed about it. I don't say it has happened. Pastor Sarah, it has happened and happened and happened. One day we just discussed something. I said, this type of car, I think I would like to have it just for official purpose. Then she asked me, when we go to US, are you going to buy it? I said, I don't buy car with my money. We went to preach somewhere. And I finished preaching. That night, I was getting a call from a guy. I know him for years, but he has lost touch for a while. He said, I was watching you. I was in UK watching you. He said, there is a gift I brought for you. Do you want to come and get it? I said, I don't have time. I have a lot of engagement. He said, okay, send a pastor so place. And I sent the pastor. They drove that car exact. I said, what kind of thing is this? But go and meet me during that wilderness time, where I'll be praying as if God is deaf. God is not deaf. He's your father. He knows what you have need of. He knows what you have need of. Clap, oh, clap. He knows what you have need of. He's not just your father. He loves you. He loves you. You better believe that he does. He does. He said, can a woman forget her suckling child? That they don't have compassion on the children of their womb. He said, even if women do that, it's hard, but some women do. Because when you carry a baby, 9 months, but some do. That's what the Bible said. He said, yet will I not forsake you. How can you forsake somebody you died for on the cross? Okay, go back to the manna story. I need to end, Pastor Ben. Who fed thee in the wilderness with manna? I'm reading verse 16 now, Deuteronomy 18. Which your fathers knew not, that he might humble you, that he might prove you, and to do thee good in your latter end. Power comes with pride. So that's when we learn humility. That's when we become disciples. It's during this period. It's the discipleship phase. So when you come to Christ, you give your life to Christ newly. Get it clear into your head. Humble yourself and get into the process. And let me warn, and I want to say it on Global TV, if you're already very wealthy or very powerful and very influential, when you come to Christ newly, I'm going to give you a secret. Humble yourself, get into discipleship. If you don't do it, you keep saying, I'm busy. Today I'm in Dubai. Today I'm in Singapore. Oh, government house. We don't have time. This is what many Christian powerful men have experienced. They find God permit the enemy. He will go and attack their resources, attack their power base, and they crumble. And some of them have asked me, what is the meaning of this? I was doing well before I came to Christ. It's not God is not interested in your money. He wants your heart, and you don't want to give it. Every day. Why haven't you gone for DLI? From Singapore to Dubai to China to, business. 1 year will pass. Why haven't you done encounter? Pastor, I don't have the time. I even managed to come to Sunday service. So you see them once in a month, one Sunday service. Just go and write what I'm telling you down. If you know anybody and you're following him, correct him with what you are learning today. If he doesn't, watch. Next thing you're going to see. Because if you live in like that, he's not going to make it. He's going to be empty-handed. He's going to be barren. So what God will do, he will cut off all those his distraction. And container fell in the high sea, or this one happened, they seized my, or one problem. You see him, pastor, say, now go for DLI. He say, yes, sir. Go for encounter. He say, yes, sir. Pastor, I finished encounter. I said, just because you finish encounter doesn't mean. It's a process. Go for DLI. He said, okay, sir. As long as God will hear me, he will go for DLI. Then you need to go and do pursue somebody. Pastor, I will be there. You see him in the front. You know why he's sitting in front? He's expecting me to pray for him. I said, this one is beyond praying for you. I can pray for you. A miracle will happen. But it was just like getting you out of the process. Medical school, I pray you into practicing medicine. Is that a good thing? Oga? If somebody jumps out from first year of flight school, Nigerian aviation school, jumps out from, he said, my pastor anointed me with oil. And for some unknown reason, I don't know how it happened, I saw the thing, they have signed my certificate, graduated. And when it was convocation, I saw them, they called my name. I even had to borrow gown, and I just joined them. He said, how many years did you spend? He said, I just got admission, just a few months. If you're the one employing, will you employ him? You have an airline, will you employ him? If you know whatever he flies, will you enter? Of course, I will not use the airline just by mistake. In case one day I'm seated, they say you are the one in the front. So I won't even use that airline. I will even ride them to sack you. But that's disaster flying on air. What about a doctor? Oh my God, my pastor David is my pastor. He anointed me on Sunday, immediately, just Feast of Trumpet. Just since second year medical student. Now I've graduated. I've opened my own hospital. Oh Lord, praise be to the Lord. There are some testimonies when people give. Those of us who are mature, they say, Lord, thank you for what you have done, but keep her in the process. That one is not ready yet. Yeah, you need miracles to keep you going. Sustenance, manna, all that. But you have to complete the process. Then you can now have your destiny, the promised land, the land of your inheritance. That he might do thee good in your latter end. Then let's read verse 17. Pastor Ben, read it.
And thou say in thy heart, my power and the might of my hand has gotten me in this world.
Yes.
Verse 18. But thou shalt remember the Lord thy God, for it is he that giveth thee power to get wealth, that he might establish his covenant, which he swore unto thy
The ones
fathers.
that have not gone through the process are the ones that make that mistake. I'm a self-made man. It's my hard work that got me in this world. The ones that went through the process, when they get to the promised land, they know it's God that made them. So you see, then they give God what belongs to him. He said he made you wealthy, brought you there that he might establish his covenant, which he swore to your fathers. For the Jews is the Abrahamic covenant, and the mandate that God has for that nation. For us is this great commission. God is making you wealthy so you can finance the gospel. God is making you wealthy so you can finance the kingdom. God is giving you power so you can advance his cause on the earth. There is purpose for wealth. There is purpose for power. God doesn't want you to have wealth without a mission, money without a mission, or power without purpose. He doesn't want you to have that, because that's when he destroys the man that has it. God wants believers to have money with a mission and power with purpose. And you see now, the man will use the portion that is for him and use the rest to advance God's kingdom. You don't beg him. You don't. They know how they got here. They know who made them. When you see those sprouts who think they are self-made, until the day divine discipline comes. Okay, read verse 19.
Verse 19. And it shall be, if thou do at all forget the Lord thy God.
Okay. Go down to where he mentioned taking you through the wilderness one more time. It's mentioned twice. Go down to that place. Verse 2 and 3. Read that verse 2 and 3.
Verse 2. And thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness.
To humble
thee,
to prove thee,
to know what was in your heart, whether thou wilt keep his commandment or no.
Now, the issue is whether you obey him or not. Now, watch. He's going to mention manna, and he tells us what manna is. Read it, the next verse.
Verse 3. And he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger, and fed thee with manna, which thou knewest not, neither did thy fathers know.
Watch. Everybody watch now. Yes?
That he might make thee to know that man does not live by bread only, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of the Lord.
Now, this manna is bread too. It came from heaven. It's angels' food. But why is he pouring it down for them instead of giving them natural food in the wilderness? During this process time, why is manna the food? God is changing the diet to teach them one lesson. That man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of God. God's word is God's mercy. God's word is God's diet. God's word is food indeed. Do you want to